1, 2, 3.
Ichabod, you having fun over there? On today's episode of Free Unsolicited Cooking Knowledge, thank you. Thank you. On today's episode of Free Unsolicited Cooking Knowledge, we'll be making chicken soup. Is your tail wagging? You want chicken soup? You want chicken soup? All right, let's go. Welcome back, my little spoons. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm what? The missing ingredient to your kitchen. On today's episode, as you saw, we are making homemade chicken soup, and this is a recipe that I grew up with. I believe it is an original recipe that my mom has created. And honestly, I really wanted to share this recipe with you because of this awful cold, snowy February that we've had. And honestly, this week has been stressful AF, and I just wanted to make a comfort dish. I just want to warn you that yes, it's a very simple recipe. It does take some time, but it's just kind of one of those great recipes you can let simmer on the stove while you're doing things around the house, and then you have the most comforting meal at the end of the day. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. Like every other recipe, all ingredients and measurements are listed down below in the description box. And the first thing you're gonna need is a big soup pot. Here we are, one big soup pot. This was actually, I believe, my grandmother's pot, and I ended up inheriting it. So it has seen many a good meals. So we're gonna make another one of those great meals. Once you have your pot, we're going to fill it about 2/3 of the way. I'm gonna start with 2/3. I could always add more or take some away, but I'm gonna do that with a big jug of spring water because I don't trust our well water in this house. Here we are. Great value, not sponsored. Oh my God, my wrists. There we go. And I'm just gonna let her flow. Just splashed all that water. Oops. Actually, one jug kind of was the perfect amount. Now that your pot is filled, I guess 2/3 of the way with water, I'm going to add the next few ingredients, which are your vegetables. So you have your onions, celery, and carrots. Pretty basic for your chicken soup. And can you go wrong? They're freaking delicious. Anyway, I'll be right back. So the first thing I have are little diced carrots, just little pieces like this, you know, bite size because you're eating it in the soup. So what I did here was one very large carrot, or you can do 2 smaller carrots peeled and washed, and that's just going directly in there. And no, you don't have to saute anything. That's like another reason I absolutely love this soup. Next is celery. So you can do 2 medium stalks. I have a lot of the celery leaf in this one, and this is basically 2 celery stalks with tons of celery leaf. So I'm just gonna add that directly in. Just beautiful. Your next ingredient is going to be a diced onion. I already cried a lot earlier this morning. Oh God. As I will continue to cry from wasted food. I'm just kidding, just a little bit fell. And this is another reason the dogs aren't down here with me sometimes when I'm cooking. Because I be dropping onions, okay? Anyway, we have 1 diced yellow onion going directly into the soup. Hold that thought, I'm just gonna pick up the floor onions. So now that we've added our vegetables, the next main ingredient is going to be chicken. And basically I do about half a chicken. I like to do the white meat portion of the chicken and dark meat like the leg and thigh. So here we are. I have cut this into quadrants. You are going to keep the skin and bones in. This is just gonna add extra flavor. Also, when we plate this, we will be kind of sifting through. Basically, I'm just like kind of making a broth and the soup all in one. It's completely up to you. If you want to do chicken breasts, you can. If you want to do like just dark meat, you can. No bones, no skin, with skin. I love it all. I think it just adds amazing flavor. So here I have my little organic free run chicken. So we have the breast and wing, and we're just gonna put that directly into the pot. And then we're gonna do a leg and thigh going right in. And yes, I have washed it and patted it dry and everything. And then I'm just gonna put this in the fridge, and I'm probably just going to bake this and have this for lunch with my salad, or even for tomorrow's dinner. Nothing goes to waste. Also, you could like double this recipe and do a whole chicken. It's completely up to you. This is just how I do it. You do not have to do it this way. All right? I'm just gonna wash my hands. And the next ingredient is what I find special to our recipe, and I'm going to be adding half a jar of our preserved tomato sauce. Here we are, and I say half a jar because usually we do the bigger mason jars, but hang on. Cody isn't here today. He is working, and I gotta open jars by myself. Oh, okay. I don't need a man. Oh, beautiful. That was a beautiful seal. Anyway, I'm going to literally just dump this directly into the soup pot. This year's sauce was just thick for some reason. I'm going to just like scoop some of that water up from the side, and I'm just gonna try and rinse as much as I can out of that. Like I said, no waste. There we go. Also, the jar was like scrubbed clean before I did that because it was like in my cantina, and I don't like working with dirty things. Even like cans from the store, like just wash it before you open it because cross-contamination is a real thing. You just never know. Anyway, okay. All right, now that that sauce is in there, it does have salt in it, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. So I'm gonna add 1 more teaspoon of salt. Also, for the canned tomato sauce, I like to do kind of cooked tomato sauce with no seeds, basically strained. Oh my God, Darwin. I know Unico brand does a good one. Kirkland brand has like canned tomato sauce as well that I like, that's like seedless and basically cooked, but it does the trick. It doesn't need to be your homemade sauce. We just have it on hand, obviously. You don't have to get too crazy with it. Anyway, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon more of salt. In she goes. And then we're just gonna do some cracked fresh black pepper. Darwin! Honey, it's okay. I don't know why Darwin's running around screaming. It's not even his dinner time, so. Anyway, I'm just gonna do a couple cracks of black pepper. I would say like half a teaspoon. I don't like a lot of pepper. If you do, load her up. It's completely up to you. The last ingredient for your big jug of soup is a cinnamon stick. I find that this adds some beautiful flavor to it. It's very subtle, it's not overpowering, but it just adds that little extra something to it. And that literally just goes directly in. Get in there. I'm just giving it a good mix so that like those onions break up, your celery, everything else, and that your salt and everything gets dissolved a bit. Okay, this is what it looks like. Pretty plain, don't know how to explain it. Now that all your ingredients are assembled, that is literally it. I mean, well, it's not, it's still gotta cook, but for ingredients, that's it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the lid on this, I'm gonna put it on my stove, I'm gonna put it on high heat, bring it to a boil, let it boil for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna lower the heat to like a medium low, and I'm just gonna let that simmer for like a couple of hours or until the meat is literally falling off the bones and everything is cooked down and it just looks like that soupy goodness, and it will be ready to eat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I guess I will see you in a couple of hours. All right, it has been about 2 hours. The soup is completely cooked. The chicken is falling off the bone. This is kind of what it looks like. As you can see, the chicken has started to break apart. You can also take some tongs and get in there and just pull it to be a little more of a soup style, like in smaller pieces. But even if you have a full chunk of chicken in your soup, it does fall apart quite easily. Also, within the last 15 minutes of the soup cooking, I took out some of the broth and I put in a separate little saucepan, and I ended up cooking about half a cup of pastina. I didn't want to put the pastina directly into the big pot of soup, mainly because it gets like really starchy and really like gluten-y, and I still want the broth to be like a very clear broth when I'm eating my soup. Anyway, now that it is done, I'm going to plate it, and I guess we'll be back for a TTT, taste test time. All right, we are plated. It smells amazing. It looks amazing. This is what it looks like, just gorgeous. You can eat the soup as is, but in Italian tradition, I love to add this. I'm going to top it with a bunch of Parmesan cheese. Oh my goodness. Just a nice little layer. How perfect. We are ready. We are ready for this TTT. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna get some chicken, some carrots, some celery. Like, it's just like the perfect little bite for this freezing month of February. I honestly can't wait for spring. Anyway. My soul. This is incredible. Makes me want to cry, honestly. Like, it's like that scene in Ratatouille when the food critic eats the, is it Ratatouille? I think that's what he eats. Anyway, when the critic eats a meal that tiny chef makes for him and he just flashback to childhood and his mother's cooking, this is that meal for me. Oh my God, it's so good. You can taste the cinnamon. It is so subtle, but it just adds like that extra layer of flavor. The pastina is perfectly cooked. The chicken is tender still, even though boiling for like 2 hours, but like the skin and the bones, it really adds like a more in-depth flavor to that broth essentially. And the cheese, it adds like that extra layer of salt. It's like, chef kiss. Thanks, Mom. Also, I was just talking with my mom while this was boiling, and she didn't make up this recipe. My grandmother did. So thank you, Grandma. This tradition will live on, not just through our family, and now, you know, the many families out there, all the little spoons. But this is incredible. Thank you, my little spoons, for lasting this long in the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I cannot say it enough. This soup is incredible. It has many layers of flavor. It means a lot to me and part of my family traditions. And honestly, I'm so happy that I was able to share it with you. Unfortunately, Cody is not here to enjoy, but he has a full pot of soup waiting for him when he gets home from work. Honestly, it lasts a few days. You can freeze it. You could put the pasta directly in there, like I said, but it absorbs a lot of the liquid, and then it's just kind of like pastina versus soup. Also, I forgot to mention that sometimes I do egg whites in the soup instead of pasta to add another layer of protein. That is absolutely delicious. And basically, you just take some of that broth, put it in another saucepan, and just pour some egg whites in there, mix it up so it breaks up, and there you go. And then you add it back into the soup, and another chef kiss. Anyway, thank you, my little spoons. And you know what? Chicken soup. See ya.